What is going on, y'all? Gamers Gaming here today with your Survivor 48 episode 5 recap. And believe it or not, I actually do have my rankings here before the video. We don't have to do it live anymore. We do have them done. Pretty good episode this week. We started off at Vula. Shaheen gives Kyle props for using the idol. He then has a confessional talking about how he's bummed that the California girls never really got rolling. That alliance, he thought it was going to be a great alliance. Didn't work out. Kyle then mentions, I noticed that my bag somebody went through my bag, so I knew I had to play it. Kyle might have overshared there, but Kyle did play. Then Joe talks trust with Kyle. I don't really know why he was doing this. He then poses a question to Kyle, now what? And Kyle's like, let's just start winning. And later on in the episode, we actually get some really good stuff from this Vula tribe. But first we get to the reward challenge, which the reward is going to the sanctuary, where you have pastries, donuts, and then the smaller reward also being the same pastries and donuts, but it'll be delivered to your camp, and it's not as much. So this challenge, you have sandbags that release balls that you then bounce onto a trampoline that goes into kind of a net. Once you do that, you have to get, you have to take the net, and carry it, and then you got to roll the balls into this. It's not necessarily like a table maze, but it's a table that has a hole. You got to roll the ball, and it has to land on the hole. So we have Charity sit, and then we have Say. This is going to be a reoccurring theme, I feel like, for the next few weeks until Say is gone. Say says she's sitting out because she needs a break, and everybody's like, we all are doing the same stuff. Why would you say that? You think you've earned a break. Say, like I said from the get-go, one of my favorite characters, but the oversharing from Say, you're just digging yourself into a hole. It's not gonna work. And we see some of that backlash here later. But in this challenge, we have Loggy, Mary Star, David do the bouncing. They get first. They get to the rolling. Where Eva, David put it all in. They're first there as well. Vula. Then we have Shaheen, Camilla. Shaheen do the bounce into the net. In their second. Then they get to the last one, and they have a big enough lead that it doesn't really matter. Siva does not get any chance, really, to do the rolling. It just didn't work out for them. So, rip to the Vula curse. It is officially over. Vula has won a challenge. And you'd be like, how would they have not won a challenge? I mean, look at that group. That group was stacked once we got to the tribe swap. Mary was hyped. She was talking about how she's excited to get more food, even though they haven't ate all their fruit from last night. And Say was upset. She calls it gloating and says you got to be mindful of people. And then Mitch, this is where we get Mitch. He says Say just needs to be quiet. She talks too much about her opinions, and it's going to bite us in the butt. And that's pretty much what Mitch had to say about it. So we get back to Siva. And they're like, well, if we're going to lose one, at least it was this one. Bianca was then sad that Thomas was gone. She said she's now less of a threat without Thomas, so she thinks she'll be able to keep herself in the game a little bit longer. And then they start talking about who can and cannot sit out the challenge. They're like, Mitch, you ain't sitting out, buddy. Mitch been carrying that team and every team he's been on in those challenges. Potential challenge beast once we get to the merge, so you might want to think about getting him out once you're in the merge, but Mitch completely carrying in challenges. And this is what I'm talking about with Say. Chrissy then says that she didn't like Say, she needed a break. She tells Say this, like, why do you need a break? Like, we've all been doing the same stuff. And Say's like, well, I've been losing, and then on top of that, I've been competing, and I think I've earned one. Chrissy doesn't like it. Chrissy then has a confession where she's like, you don't want to participate in the challenge, but then you're first person to come back and start eating fruit once you get back to camp. It doesn't sit well with her. Mitch also doesn't like Say after this. Mitch says he had to get away because he's about to pop off on Say. I wrote this. Come on, Say. Just Say, a very fun character to watch on the this season. But Say, if you're gonna win, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. Just rubbing people the wrong way. And that's the thing that I find tricky with where I put Say in my winners ranking. Because more Say for TV, the better. Here's the problem. Say is doing a lot of shooting herself in the own foot. It's just not going too well for her at the moment. And I don't think she is aware of how that is portrayed to others. Then they talk about how the plan could now change since Thomas is out because they were going to get Bianca because of Thomas. Now it can go back to Say. Chrissy and Mitch say they both like Bianca. Bianca then says she's down to vote Say, but she doesn't have a vote, so it doesn't really even matter, to be honest with you. Then we hear once again how Say deserves a break, and because of that, and Chrissy not like supporting that, she wants Chrissy out. She wants to work with Cedric and Bianca, and then she tells Bianca straight up, I'm just going to use Cedric as a number. Cedric has some of the poorest reads on anything. I don't understand Cedric. I really don't. We'll talk about Cedric more later, but Cedric just, I don't know what's happening with Cedric. Sanctuary. We get to that Sanctuary. David is hyped for milk. There's a song that plays behind David drinking milk. So, if you're into Winner's Edits, there it is. David drinking milk to a song. He says that after drinking milk, he feels like Popeye. Then Star says, hey, we got nothing to worry about. We humbly won. David said that Say's words hurt. Mary hasn't won a lot. She's allowed to celebrate. She's allowed to do this, that, and be happy. Charity says Say's a sore loser. All these people seem to have the same idea here, that they don't like Say. That Say is speaking too much and just rubbing people the wrong way. But for some reason, Cedric. Say's got Cedric wrapped around her finger. Then we have a little confessional from Eva where she calls Charity fake. Didn't see that much. It was really weird and out of place. Doesn't really trust Charity. Okay. And then there was some editing that suggests later in the show maybe there's some volume to that. Then we get to Vula eating their reward picnic. They all agree and bond over parents having to go through things much harder than what they're doing right now. Shaheen shares his story of his father in Iraq. Camilla shares her story about her father and going back to Sri Lanka. Joe talks about his dad being in Virginia during the Jim Crow law era and his mother being white and his father being black. And they all seem to bond over this, and Joe's like, it's wild the stuff our parents went through, and we're just going through Survivor. Camilla says, I don't want to vote any of y'all out. And then we get these four making what I believe at the moment to be a really tight alliance. I think they really, really did bond over everybody telling their background and their story. So, Vula, I think that four right there, they are in a really good spot long term. And that was just the first of some emotion we got in this game. Because we get to the challenge. Sit-outs are Star and Cedric. Of course, Cedric. Hasn't been particularly great in the challenges, and now Cedric is sitting out of the challenges, and then he's just letting Say lead him around. Cedric. You're making my 7th overall ranking prior to the season look bad. You're just making it look bad. The challenge is you got to dive in the ocean. You got to swim with a boat being attached to you The boat is holding a chest. You then have to carry the chest up the beach, unbraid a rope for a key, unlock the chest, which has balls in it, dig underneath a log, so you got to fit everybody underneath the log, and then you have to do a table maze with the ball. Everybody had to do it, the table maze, so everybody had to get a shot. So we get to your Loggy leads early. They get to the log, first through the log, all smooth there for Loggy. Vula second, once again, did pretty easy, beat Siva. I actually wrote Siva, what are you doing at one point, last to make it. Siva here, though, actually, we'll talk about first. Vula, Joe easily did it. Shaheen easily did it. Kyle easily did it. Camilla, she struggled at first. She stepped back, watched the other people do it. Camilla then easily did it. Easy run there for Vula. It was between Siva and Loggy, and ultimately it was down to Eva and Say. Mitch, Bianca, Chrissy, Charity, David, Mary all got it. Eva and Say were the two that were there towards the end, and this is where we finally saw Eva's autism get to her a little bit. And it really was painful to watch, because you saw her cry, you saw her go through this episode that she calls it, right? And you just felt so bad that nobody could help her in that moment, and you saw Joe looking on, like, wanting to help her so bad and trying to offer her words of encouragement, and it just really was painful to watch. But ultimately, she overcame it, and she ended up getting the maze before Say. She advanced once again here to the next, or at least one more day, winning tribal immunity. Very sad moment. And then afterwards, we see Jeff, for the first time, I think forever, tell another tribe in Joe, you want to go give Eva a hug? And he went, comforted her, did the holding of the hands thing that she needs in order to feel better. And that went on for a while. To help Eva calm down a little bit. Then Jeff points out, Joe, not normally do I do that, but I could tell that she needed somebody to comfort her, and you and her seem to have a good relationship, and are you afraid that it's going to hurt your game? And he's like, no, I'm not. I want to be a good example to my kids. I want to treat her like a daughter, because if that was my daughter, I would want somebody to be there for her. And really, really honorable stuff from Joe. And then we finally get that moment where Eva then discloses it to everybody that she's dealing with autism, and what she was dealing with was one of the episodes that she has. You even get Jeff crying during this. My eyes were tearing up during this. This is just really hard and painful to watch, seeing how brave and how much it meant to Eva to have other people know, but also to see how much she struggled and just feel so bad that nobody else there knew what was going on other than Joe. So she did explain it to everybody, and everybody took it really, really well. And you really hope that nobody would specifically take advantage of that in terms of the game. But I think Eva really did. This is going to sound weird to say. I think Eva set herself up by telling everybody that to be somebody that might actually win the game, because instead of just people being unsure of some of the things she's doing, now they know why. And Eva just absolutely fully deserved that moment of everybody cheering her on and really rooting for her. Really, really deep and powerful moment there from Eva. I mean, props to her for not only going on the show, but being able to overcome what she was dealing with in that moment. So, big props to Eva. And like I said, I think it did set her up for some long-term success as well. We get Star hyping her up. David, Mary show support to her. The one we don't see anybody showing any words of encouragement is Charity. She's just standing there smiling. kind of maybe leaning a little bit into that fake aspect. Eva says she feels accepted now, which is great. Star even relates with her, talks about how Star had family that have dealt with autism. So Star tells Eva about her advantage. She tells everybody, they go searching for it. They figure out, hey, you got to find a word. Eva solves the word. It's silent. And Star gives Eva the idol. Just gives her the idol because Star said, you solved it. You can have it. Star, Eva, we've seen them butt heads a little bit here in the first couple weeks. But I think those are two that are really going to start to get along well. Obviously, Eva has an ally for life in Joe. I believe she has an ally for life in David. She's really set up pretty well in this game. And I think Star even has boosted her stock a little bit. Because I do think if Star does align with Eva, I think Eva's group is going to hold some power. Because Joe will bring them in with their group, and it's pretty much just going to be Siva getting knocked out. So we'll see in the long term, but really just a powerful moment there from Eva. Then we get to the tribal scramble, and it's Bianca in the middle with no vote. So she spills to Cedric that they want to get Say out. Bianca then tells the other two that they need to get Say out because she's annoying. So she's kind of playing in the middle, trying to get both to vote against each other. Because if it's a tie, her name ain't on the block. She don't have a vote. So it doesn't matter. She's gone, or one of those two are gone. It wouldn't matter to her. But this is where it all goes wrong for Bianca. She tells Cedric that she does not have a vote. And Cedric was like, yeah, I'm going to work with you. At one point, Cedric literally said that he does not think he can work long-term with Say because he has wrote her name down and he does not think that she will let that go in the long run. Why would you just not cut the loose end when it's there? You have put the name down. You are not going to mend that relationship. Especially when Say consistently has targeted everybody that has had their names in their mouth. She's constantly been, if you're playing big, you're the person. She's constantly at every moment told you what to do. This could have been Cedric's big moment of, hey, I'm going to get Say out. But he keeps Say along and keeps saying, well, I don't know when it would be the right time. Why would you not know when it's the right time? I guess because Say's going to get voted out at some point because a lot of people don't like her at the moment. But Cedric has not set himself up for any success. Cedric's only ally in this game is Say. That's the only ally Cedric has. Justin, gone. Kevin, maybe. Chrissy, they voted opposite tonight. Say is Say. Mitch, him and Cedric might be on the same paths. Bianca, she was in the middle. I don't know what's going on with Cedric. It's just a lot of confusion. So we get to the tribal, and it wasn't as much fireworks as we've seen the last few weeks. A lot of talk about Bianca being in the middle. Say talks about potential cracks being within. Anyways, we get to the votes. Obviously, Bianca doesn't have her vote. So we get one vote Say, one vote Chrissy. Say voted Chrissy. I think Mitch voted Say. And Chrissy, for some reason, voted Bianca. And Cedric voted Bianca. I don't know why Chrissy didn't go Say. Maybe she was afraid of an idol there, maybe? But then you have Cedric. Cedric's game's just really confusing to me. It really is. I don't know how Cedric wins this game. Good news for him is I do have him making a decent way in the merge in my rankings. But Cedric, I don't... At one point, Say literally said that relying on Cedric, and it's like you're training a dog to go on a walk. She said something of that sort. Yeah, Cedric. I know Cedric doesn't get to see all that we get to see, but I would really like to hear from Cedric why he is continuing to stick with Sei when he's already pretty much broken all that trust that he had with Sei. He trusts Sei. Sei doesn't trust her. He is completely unaware that Sei doesn't trust her. And I don't think it's that hard to figure out. Anyways, let's get to the winners rankings. I think next week we're in the merge, so we will be off of this 3-tribe system. We will start off with the Siva. First off, we have Cedric. Cedric last week was 12th. This week I do have him at 8th. That puts him at an average of 10 in the pre-merge. So Cedric, he went up to 8th this week. It's pretty much a death sentence if I give you a good grade. So, because last week, with Thomas, he went home. And then with Bianca this week, she was 5th and she went home. It's a death sentence if I give you a good grade. And then before that, Justin. And then before that, we had Kevin. Stephanie was the only one I did not have a big grade on. She did go prior to my grade on her, but not super surprised there. Chrissy, I have 12th. I don't know why Chrissy voted the way she did. And I also don't really know where Chrissy's alliance lies. Sei is at 11. I think Sei's just made too many people mad. It's going to be really hard once the merge comes. Mitch at 9. Too good at challenges. He's going to have to go on a run if he wants to make it further. We have Eva. Eva I do have at 7th, which is a jump up from last week. Eva has some room to even improve on that 7, but I don't see Eva going anytime soon. We had Mary stick at 6 from last week. We had Star. Star moved up a little bit. She went from 13 to 10, potentially finding a group for once. Charity, the only reason she moved up is because she didn't get voted off. She went from 14th to 13th. Charity, very, very poor here in the pre-merge. David, he did move down. He's now at 5th because my 1 through 4 is all on the current Vula tribe. Shaheen is 3rd. He did drop, or he did gain again. Shaheen does worry me a little bit. Camilla is still number 1 for me. Joe is number 4, and I moved Joe down for number 4 because I think everybody, once the merge gets well underway, is going to see, hey, Joe's made really good connections. And Kyle's my new number 2. So just Kyle, his average has been 4 here in the pre-merge. Joe is been at 3rd in the pre-merge. We have Camilla. A rough start, but she has a 3.2 rating in the pre-merge in terms of where I think she'll finish. And then we have Shaheen at a 3.6. We have David at a 5. Charity at 14.2. So her ranking's just barely going up, basically off of attrition. Star is at 13.8. We have, is this Eva? No, this is Mary. Mary at 10, but Mary's had a really good last couple of weeks. She just started off really low. Eva at 9.8. Mitch at an average of 10.6. 9.4 for Sei. Chrissy at a 10.4 and Cedric at a 10. So that pretty much is all I got for y'all. Thank you for watching. Let me know down below what you thought of tonight's episode, and I will see you next week for another episode of Survivor. In 2 weeks, however, I will not be reviewing Survivor because I will be on vacation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.